One thing about this season in college football is that there's more parity than clarity ever before, mainly because there's not a front runner to take home the title of number one team. But after last week, it's very hard to argue that Ohio State does not belong in the top spot heading into week 9. If you're brand new here, welcome on into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, Texas, and I talk college football daily. I talk NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, every sport, but I love talking college football. And if you're a fan of it, this is the channel made for you. So subscribe down below, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. Tell me who you think is the top team in college football heading into week 9. Tell your friends, your family, even your enemies about this channel. Because if we get to 1,000 subscribers by November 15th, I'll shave my head live on air, Lex Luthor style. We're starting to do 3 live shows a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 30 to 45 minutes. You're not going to want to miss out. So make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, and let's talk college football. Ohio State improves to 7-0 on the season with a massive win over a very sound Penn State team. And let's make sure that we mention this real fast. Penn State still is in the JSI polls top 10, and they deservingly should be because of this defense did have a strong performance. Overall, Ohio State was hindered by third down conversions. They didn't do a good job of moving the football on the ground, averaging 1.9 yards per play. They were really handcuffed to one guy being that weapon. But therein is the problem when it comes to playing Ohio State. You don't have an answer for number 18. Marvin Harrison Jr., if you talk to many NFL scouts like I have, and you talk to many evaluators around the league, will say that he is the most polished prospect to come out of college football in over a decade. We use the term generational talent like we drink water, and it is an overplayed, oversaturated saying that I am tired of utilizing. Because of when you get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. that is generational, that deserves credit. We can go ahead and say that there have been great quarterbacks to come out in recent years. Joe Burrow. You could throw in probably Caleb Williams this year. Trevor Lawrence was phenomenal during his time at Clemson. Were they generational? I don't think so. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is. And in a game where basically you were told, if you were Penn State, do not let number 18 win. Do not let number 18 get off that line of scrimmage. Find a way to force Kyle McCord to target anybody else on that squad, and we have a shot. And you knew you had no chance of doing it. That's what makes you generational. And he did. He's now number 2 all-time at Ohio State in receiving, in 100 receiving yard games, with 12, surpassing Chris Olave. He needs 2 more to tie the record and 3 more to beat it. And who's to say that he's not going to do that? Honestly, you look at the schedule and you look at how he's played against really good defenses. And again, that's where we are right now when talking about Penn State. Penn State entered this game as the number 1 defense in college football. They allowed 121 passing yards per game on average to teams. Marvin Harrison Jr. had over 167. He scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter that eventually was a major difference maker in this game because Drew Aller got a late score with I think it was 20 seconds left. These are things that even though it was basically out of reach, it still was a massive difference. And so Ohio State defensively handled business. Offensively, they have the cheat code and legitimately Weapon X playing the X receiver role. And they're doing it soundly. What Ohio State looked like in week 1 against Indiana, where they got the win, but it was a sluggish, disgusting, kind of low-tier type of victory. That's not the same Ohio State team that we've seen. And they've continued to improve every single week. And I know they haven't lived up to the standard entirely because in Columbus, you expect blowouts against everybody. But you are winning football games, and you are staying the course, and you are right now a favorite to go back to the college football playoff. You are a favorite to win the national title, and you are a favorite to still be the standard in the new Big Ten. Michigan has the title right now because they've won back-to-back Big Ten titles. But Ohio State has been the standard for over a decade. They consistently punch out first-round talent. They find ways to utilize the quarterback and turn him into something positive. They have a great rushing attack, and they have weapons on weapons on weapons on weapons. Like Cade Stover in this game, 2 massive 20-yard catches from Kyle McCord. That's something that you hold your hat on. And therein also is another thing that really stands out about Ohio State, especially when it comes to the rankings this week. Ohio State got an 8-point swing against the best defense in college football this year. And Manny Diaz deserves a lot of credit for what he's done with Kalen King, with Chop Robinson, with Kamir Jean Carter, all of these players. What he's done since arriving at State College has been exceptional. You do realize that Ohio State was not at full capacity. They were not even close. They did not have their number 2 wide receiver in Emeka Egbuka. They were down their lead running back in Travion Henderson. Now imagine if both of those guys played, what the stat line could have been. Because now you think about this for a second. You can't double team Marvin Harrison Jr. because if you do, you're leaving Cade Stover open, or you're leaving Julian Fleming open, or you're leaving Emeka Egbuka open. And then goes those third down conversions, and there goes moving the chains, and there goes keeping drives alive. And maybe instead of getting an 8-point win, you win by 14, or you win by 20. That's what you have when it comes to this team. And so when they play at full speed, when they play at full strength, can you imagine what they would do? Can you imagine what it would look like? How dangerous this offense can be now that they seem to have a rhythm. And by the way, the offensive line is getting better. And defensively, Jim Knowles has basically implemented the same type of standard that he put in Stillwater during that incredible year that Oklahoma State nearly won the Big 12 and made it to the college football playoff in Columbus. He's done the exact same thing. And you're seeing older veteran standouts really start to hitch their stride at the right moment, and now they look unbeatable. They definitely have flaws to their team. Every team in college football this year does. That's the beauty of this season. There is not an elite team by any standards whatsoever. And there are great teams. Ohio State is one. I think Michigan is one. I think that when you get Florida State in the second half of Duke playing 4 quarters, they're one. I think Oregon and Washington and Oklahoma and Texas, all very solid teams. But none of them are elite this year. Ohio State and Michigan might have the best case for being the closest to it because of we know what their defense is doing. We know what their offense can be. We've seen the play calling basically go change in an instant where Ryan Day and Brian Hartline are saying, okay, well, the rushing attack's not working. Let's just go ahead and target 18. Let's get the ball in his hands as much as possible and see what happens. He had 4 third down conversions on the afternoon. Penn State had 1. 1. That's what makes you dangerous. But a lot of people are probably saying to yourself, why is Ohio State number 1 for me this week? And I understand Michigan has handled business in every single game. And I don't play into the notion of, oh, well, you haven't played anybody. It's how you've looked when you've played nobody. And Michigan's done their job. And J.J. McCarthy is hitting his stride at the right moment. The defense still is phenomenal underneath Jesse Minter. And Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in college football. That's a given. That's a given. But there's 3 things that stand out to me when it comes to Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan has played up to its standard in the bigger conference games. So has Ohio State. Michigan is looking like an unstoppable force that has no resistance getting past an immovable object. So does Ohio State. Michigan has a Heisman Trophy worthy offensive player that is setting the tone on Saturdays and helping his team keep winning football games and crossing the threshold. So does Ohio State. Michigan does not have a top 10 win yet. Ohio State has 2. They handle business in the 4th quarter on the road against Notre Dame, and they just beat one of, if not the best defense in college football in their home backyard with limitations on offense. No one else in the country can say that. And so for this week alone, you have to give the nod to Ohio State. It's not that Ohio State and Michigan are that far off, but when you do what you did against Penn State, you deserve a little bit more credit. It's why the Buckeyes right now are the team to beat in college football. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.